Disaster strikes once again for the Houston Astros as they get swept for now the third time this season, second time at home, this most recent one coming at the hands of the Atlanta Braves, who are coming to Houston for the first time since defeating the Astros in the World Series back in 2021. Pitching was great, offense, not so much. We're going to talk all about it. Series overall was just heartbreaking. The Astros were in every single one of these games, and I mean, despite that, they could not eke out a win against the Braves in this 3-game series. It's just kind of sad. I mean, after the Astros had scored, I think, 30 runs or something like that? It's 26, 27, I don't even know. But after they had scored that many runs in 3 games against the Texas Rangers, taking 2 out of 3, they only scored, I think, 7 runs in 3 games against the Atlanta Braves this week, which, I mean, honestly, it's just pure inconsistency at its finest. It's been an issue for the Astros, for years. Offense is just very, very inconsistent. I mean, pitching is somewhat consistent. Yes, they're going to have bad outings. It happens. But, I mean, the offense is really more inconsistent than anything. Anyway, let's talk about this series. Honestly, dude, I really don't want to be recording this video right now. I would much rather talk about in a series in which the Astros are actually winning at least one game, regardless of whether they lose the series or not. But like I said, I make these videos for every single series that the Astros do, at the end of each series, whether it's a series that the Astros sweep, a series where they get swept themselves in, like today, or anything in between. So anyway, let's talk about it. So starting with games 1 and 2, I mean, the first 2 games of this series were honestly more exact copies, I guess. They kind of ended the same way, or, overall they just kind of played out the same way. So we're going to talk about these first 2 games together. So first in game 1 here, Spencer Arrighetti was making his second start of the season since being called up, and he pitched phenomenal. I mean, I might have to look at the exact box score, but he certainly pitched a lot better in this game. I think only had been given up 2 runs, I think. But it was a game, again, that I'm pretty sure the reason why he did better was just because it was here at home. And, I guess if you're a new major league baller, then things are always better if you have the support of the home crowd, which was the case for Arrighetti in this game. So maybe that would explain why he did somewhat better. But all in all, the Astros only played it, I think, just 1 run offensively in this game. But yeah, it was not enough for them to win this game and support Spencer Arrighetti's solid start. He would get optioned back down to AAA Sugarland after this game. But honestly, dude, this is one of the starts that he can really just build his confidence on. And the same can certainly said for Hunter Brown, who started game 2 of this series. He also pitched just as amazing as Arrighetti, if not much better. Especially again, given how bad his past 2 starts have been. And those were both road starts. But for both of these games, the Astros could not back up either of those guys' solid starts. And at the very end of both of these games, it went south pretty much in an instant. In the 9th inning, the Braves, I think, scored 3 or 4 runs in both of those games, in the 9th inning of both of those games, and it pretty much put it out of reach. The second game, those 4 runs ended up proving to be more of the difference maker because the Astros were entering in the 9th inning only down, I think, 1-0. And that lone run that the Braves scored was on a rather controversial home run that was called on the field because it actually hit off of the railings of the Crawford boxes over in left field of Minute Maid Park, and it hit off of the railing that, when you're watching a game on TV, is on the right side of the railing. Almost in left center field by the visitors' bullpen. And then the ballpark ground rules state that if a ball hits this railing, then, I mean, it doesn't matter where it bounces into. Even if it bounces into the stands, then it's an automatic double. The only time it doesn't is if it miraculously hits somewhere out of play, in which case it's a home run. But I'm not going to talk about ground rules here in this video, but, I mean, either way, it's a home run that, even to this day, when I'm recording this video, it's one that I really don't entirely get. And as the game went on, it seemed that home run was starting to become more controversial. But after the Braves had scored those 4 runs or so in the 9th inning, I didn't seem to get too upset about that home run because, again, we melted down in the 9th inning. So with or without that home run, it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. But the Astros scored 2 runs in the bottom half of the 9th inning of that game that, again, if Forrest Whitley, who was making his long anticipated major league debut in this game, I mean, if Joe Espada hadn't put him in this kind of a situation, the Astros would have easily won this game. And because, again, they scored 2 runs in the 9th inning that would have won them the game had that not happened. But, you know, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, going into Game 3, and after 5 innings of JP France in which he gave up 2 runs, as well as clutch hits from most of the top of our lineup, Yordan Alvarez and Mauricio Dubon hit home runs today, and then also a couple of clutch hits from Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman had given the Astros this lead to this point. And the Astros had their vaunted back-end bullpen trio lined up just the way that they wanted, with Brian Abreu in the 7th, Brian Presley in the 8th, and Josh Hader in the 9th to hopefully get down the save. But 2 times this season, that these best laid plans just cannot work out because it wasn't actually Josh Hader who actually blew the save again. I mean, he was entering the 9th inning in a non-save situation. Despite that, he got 3 strikeouts. But instead, it was Ryan Presley who gave up the 2 runs in the 8th inning to allow the Braves to tie the game. One of those runs was actually unearned because of Jose Abreu, whose start to the season, as if that could not get any worse, had committed a fielding error that had allowed Matt Olson to reach first base and then also put Austin Riley, the tying run, over to third base. He would then score on a sacrifice fly that honestly should have been the final out of the inning, but instead it was not. Honestly, man, like I said in the last series recap video, or if not the one before that, I'm not going to be one to just like trash talk on certain players, but to be honest, man, I mean, if I could really trash talk on Jose Abreu on this series, then, I mean, I certainly would, but like I said, I'm not going to do that. But, I mean, real talk for Jose Abreu, I'm starting to lose my patience on him. Like, you know, he needs to try to kick it into gear this weekend series. Or, I mean, come trade deadline, I think the Astros should be doing something with him. Just like, you know, just trade him whatever the cost may be, even if it means you have to pay the rest of his contract before it expires. But re-sign him as a bat replacement for Yuli Gurriel, who had left in free agency in 2022. And Yuli Gurriel is a Gold Glover, so I mean, I still don't understand why the Astros couldn't have made a shot at keeping him, because I think, to my knowledge, I don't know if Jose Abreu has won a Gold Glove at his position. I mean, he's won an AL MVP, but unless Jose Altuve has one, which I'm pretty sure he does, the only Gold Glover infielder who we have, like on our starting infield right now, is Jeremy Pena, and he won that Gold Glove in 2022. But like, let's be honest here, Jose Abreu is like the poster child of pretty much everything that's gone wrong for the Astros to this point. But at the same time, injuries to their starting rotation at this point have taken their toll on the entire pitching staff, including the bullpen. And the offense, like I said at the beginning of this video, is just very inconsistent. Like, it's a bit of a roller coaster how this series was and how this season has been overall. But at the same time, it's just kind of upsetting. So after the Braves had tied up this game, the game would then get sent to Manfred innings, or, you know, extra innings, whatever you want to call it. But again, throughout this series, anytime it's going to get brought up, I'm going to call it Manfred innings. So just keep that in mind. But the Astros had the potential tying run at third base with only 1 out in the bottom half of the 10th inning, which, you know, by the potential tying run, that's actually the Manfred runner who starts the inning at second base. Pena, who was 0 for 5 today, had hit into a double play to end the game. Again, the Astros, you know, they're not this bad. At the same time, the Astros had dropped to 6-14 on the season, which is the worst start through 20 games that we've had since 2016. And that was also the last time since 2015, so the year before that we didn't make the playoffs. And we've been in the postseason every year since. But overall, like I said, frustrating series. The Astros were in all of these games, and honestly, it really should have been a series sweep that the Astros could have gotten, but instead the tables turned on us and the Braves had swept us instead. So, but Thursday's off day. It's only the second of this whole season for the Astros. Comes at a very good time. So hopefully it should be well spent. The Astros are actually already in Washington, D.C. as we speak, which is where they're going to be taking on the Washington Nationals for their next 3 games. But then the part that I'm most excited about is that they will be activating ace pitcher Justin Verlander for the very first time this season, and he will be making his season debut on Friday. And don't you guys worry, I promise I will bring you guys a reaction video for that, because, I mean, at this point, how can I not put a reaction video for a Justin Verlander start? At this point in the season, dude, there is no time for excuses. Like, we got to kick it into gear. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this edition of Series Recaps. Drop your thoughts on this, on how you think this series went. I mean, I really think it could have gone either way. It's just unfortunate that the Astros had to get swept in this series. But, I mean, again, it is what it is. Just flip the page. The schedule should hopefully get easier for the rest of this month, because we've got the Nats this weekend. We've got the Rockies actually in Mexico City the weekend after that. And in between that, we've got the Cubs, who, I mean, the Cubs might be a decent team. I mean, they're my favorites in the National League Central right now, so we'll see how that goes. But, I mean, overall, this should be a pretty easy road trip, and, I mean, the Astros should at least get a winning road trip. So, anyway, enough talk. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.